Yo, 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 what's up, you guys? Amala and Ovi here with Unapologetic Live. I'm coming to you guys from my apartment today, which means I am running boards and doing all this fun stuff. So let's see how it goes. Bear with me. I don't know how good I am going to be at doing all of this stuff because, as you all know, this is normally Taylor's job. But today, it's the day after 4th of July, July 5th. I spent my 4th of July weekend out in Florida. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys did for the 4th of July. I bet a lot of you went a lot harder than I did. I didn't do anything crazy this 4th of July. I just really hung out with my grandparents, my sister, my mom. A friend came into town to visit me. So I hope you guys had a good time celebrating our Independence Day. I know there's a lot of people who absolutely did not want to celebrate Independence Day whatsoever, and we're going to get into that. We're going to get into some of the crazy reactions we've seen from celebrities, people on TikTok, people on social media who decided to come forth and really express their disdain for America on July 4th, which is not something we should be surprised by. I think this has been happening for years now, but I think it really has reached its pinnacle this year as we saw Roe versus Wade get overturned, and now everybody has this sort of excuse to come after America and say, you know, F this country, we don't care about it anymore, I don't want to be here anymore, which is, I think, the funniest of all arguments. But let's get into it. So we're going to start off with Jessica Chastain here. So she comes out and on July 4th posts a photo of herself, and it's a photo of her flicking off the camera. Fun stuff. Great, great, great. She's looking good. By the way, Jessica Chastain is super hot. I gotta go ahead and put that out there. I mean, as much as I'm gonna rag on her for her political takes and her July 4th nonsense, she's pretty hot. Anyways, let's get into it. Let's read what she had to say. So actress Jessica Chastain, 45, marked America's birthday by flipping a double bird, presumably in response to the Supreme Court overturning its landmark Roe v. Wade decision last month. Happy Independence Day from me and my reproductive rights, tweeted Zero Dark 30 Star, along with the image of her flaunting the obscene gesture. This is the obscene gesture. I've been known to use this obscene gesture a time or two. My boyfriend and I are known to use this obscene gesture with each other in a very playful sense. Certainly not to give an FU to America, but let's keep reading here. So the tweet garnered a robust response from both sides of the aisle. Fellow actress Holly Robertson Pete agreed, saying, pretty much, and former NBA player turned Twitter personality Rex Chapman, who we talked about last week on the show for coming after Clarence Thomas in what was a ridiculously racist, derogatory Twitter thread that he put out about him, but we don't need to talk about that today. Rex Chapman replied with a broken heart emoji. Broken heart emojis. You know, when I look at this picture, what I think about the most is that what a wide jump you've made simply because one thing didn't go your way. One thing, Roe v. Wade getting overturned, and we all know that was rightful. We have a whole video about it on the channel if you guys want to check out why Roe v. Wade got overturned, why it was the right thing to do, and why even liberal and progressive people agree with me on that. You guys can check that out on the channel. But one thing doesn't go your way, and this is your response. This is what you have to say. An FU to your entire country on Independence Day, which is a really important day because it marks, you know, the creation of our country, a country born off of ideas, off of values, rather than saying, you know, to be an American, you have to have this religion, or you have to be this race, or you have to really represent this set of thought. They stepped outside of that and said, no, anybody can be an American. It's built on this set of ideas. We want to see what is a free and flourishing republic be built for the very first time. The very first time a country built on the ideas that America was founded on. And this is your response, an FU to that. Which is so funny to me because America was created the way it was created, that's why you have the right to do something like this. That's why Jessica Chastain is able to post a picture on Twitter of her flipping off the camera and giving an FU to America. Because of American values. But she's not ready for that conversation yet. She's clearly not ready for that conversation yet. And to jump to giving an FU to your entire country simply because one thing didn't go your way, is that to say there are no good things about America anymore? That on Independence Day you have not a single thing to celebrate about this country? And that is your response to Independence Day. Blows my mind. But that's how black and white people are these days. One thing happens in the news cycle and suddenly it's F America. Then the next day something goes their way and they're back on board. And then the next day something doesn't go their way and it's F America again. So we're constantly in this cycle of going back and forth and having celebrities hop on the bandwagon, because we all know if anybody's going to give us some opinion, it's Hollywood. Hollywood, which is known for being just one of the most disgusting, decrepit industries in our country. They're the ones who are to give you your political opinions while they go and receive their Oscars and Academy Awards, while their movies are being sold in countries that value slavery and value, stomping down political dissidents and getting rid of free speech. They don't value the lives of their own citizens. Those are where your movies are being played. That's where you're being marketed. But F America, right, guys? Because we live in the worst country in the entire world, according to Jessica Chastain. Let's keep reading here and go through, because it's not just Jessica Chastain who had a response like this on Independence Day. Here's Padma Lakshmi. She posted this little cake that says, separate church and state. Which, to that I just say, what is your response to people who are pro-life and non-religious, like me? Got a big hand raise right here. What is your response to that? Is it still separate church and state? What is your response to people who say, guess what? Roe versus Wade is not protected in the Constitution, and you can't find a phrase or a sentence or any statement in the Constitution that really supports your right to an abortion. That has nothing to do with separating church and state. Anything to say to me about that? I'll wait for Padma's response. I have a feeling it's going to get lost in the mail. Let's keep scrolling here. Katy Perry. Not firework Katy Perry, coming with an anti-American response on Independence Day. Not firework Katy Perry. She said, "Baby, your firework is a 10, but women in the US have fewer rights than an actual sparkler." Shake my head. I just can't. And I've seen a tweet similar to this, all over the internet. There's different variations of this particular tweet. People saying, guns have more rights than women do in America. Sparklers have more rights than women do in America. Fireworks have more rights than women do. Cars, boats, all these different inanimate objects. Can you explain that? Can you go further? Because I'm pretty sure there are places, cities, states that outlaw fireworks and sparklers and things like that. I don't think there's at any point a city or a state that outlaws women being present. But sure, this inanimate object has more rights than you do, Katy Perry. Thank you so much for your input, your intelligent, highly nuanced input on July 4th. This last one, Rosanna Arquette says, "The 4th of July is now obsolete because women are not independent or free. Get your boots off our wombs." Y'all, I can't. If anything, the left is really good for slogans. If I ever am running a campaign or I need somebody to create a slogan for me, I'm not going to go to a conservative. I know we had the whole Make America Great Again thing, and that was cool or whatever. Really, really, really broke ground there. But they've really got it when it comes to slogans. Get your boots off our wombs. The 4th of July is now obsolete. The Independence Day, that which allowed you to express this belief on the internet so openly about your disdain for this country, the day that celebrates that is obsolete. There's just so many contradictions all over the place. I mean, there are men and women who died for somebody to be able to do this, and that's what we talk about on Independence Day. None of these conversations would be had. We wouldn't even be discussing personal rights, really, if it were not for independence. We would not be discussing what is pertinent to being a human being in America and what your rights are as expressed in things like the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, our Constitution. We would not be discussing it without our independence. And I can't stress that enough. And I don't know how many other ways you can say that to where it lands for somebody to understand that. And they simply don't. They simply have reaped all the benefits of living in this country and of exercising those rights on a day-to-day basis, but have no idea where they came from. There's this great video of Michael Knowles, and he's at a college somewhere talking to students, and a student comes up and criticizes his take on Christopher Columbus and asks him, why would you ever celebrate or respect such a disgusting, horrible man? And Michael Knowles has this quote. I mean, it's not going to be a direct quote, but he says something to the effect of, "You stand on the shoulders of giants, yet you spit at their feet." And that's exactly how I feel day in and day out living in this country when I hear people talk about this. Is it okay to levy valid criticism about how you feel when it comes to Roe versus Wade and about whether or not abortion is a right for women? That is totally fine. By all means, step up, give me your criticism, let's go back and forth, let's debate it. But to spit on the institutions, the traditions, the holidays that we use to talk about that freedom, to be able to levy that criticism, is just utterly contradictory to anything and everything. But day in and day out, we can scroll through Twitter and find thousands of people talking exactly like this. In fact, people have done so. Here's a little thing on Twitter that we found called Leftism for You. And this is just a compilation of people basically talking shit about America on the 4th of July and expressing how much they hate this country. We'll read a few of them. I don't know. I get secondhand embarrassment watching people wear American flags. Okay, whatever. If you have an American flag tattoo, you're an effing loser and an idiot. Going to go steal the giant American flag my neighbor is flying. Let's skip. Let's see. Instead of flying the American flag today, why not just admit you hate black people? What? I can't. Oh my gosh, here's another one. If I see one more ugly ass American flag today, I'ma lose it. On a holiday in America and experiencing my very first 4th of July, 3 of my friends just went to the shop to buy some American flags to burn. While you're here visiting America, buying American flags to burn on 4th of July. I'm not an American, but I want an American flag just to burn it. So many people expressing that. They just want an American flag to burn it. And I know some people will say, well, whatever, it's symbolic, you're not really doing anything with that, but it does mean something. And it speaks to just the sheer ignorance that people have about what this country stands for, what it was built on. But I spoke about this. I went on Fox News last week to talk about a couple things that were happening surrounding 4th of July, or possibly surrounding 4th of July. Arizona, they had a group of leftists out there who said, instead of celebrating the 4th of July, we're going to change the holiday. It's actually going to be F America Day or something to that effect. And this is just the natural progression of believing in leftism. I'm going to be honest about it. It's something I've said for a very long time. If you posit that the United States is built on racism, bigotry, patriarchy, discrimination, and that everything in this country, all of its institutions, all of its systems, everybody who lives here essentially has gotten what they've gotten because of bigotry and discrimination and stepping on the backs of other people. The common phrase is, America's built on the backs of Native Americans and slaves. Okay, let's talk about that. But when you truly believe that, I don't truly believe that. I can make a distinction between the transgressions of America's past and the ideas that it was founded on. These are two separate and distinct things. Now, is it valid to say those ideas are maybe not reflected when you look at the transgressions that America was committed? All men are equal when you have slaves. All men are equal when Native Americans are being pushed west or having their land taken away from them or being slaughtered. Sure, certainly. But there is a difference between, ideas and what is carried out. Are the ideas sound? Do you agree in the equality of man? Do you agree in the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Do you agree with those things? Do you think maybe there's something positive that's lying, amongst all of those ideas that are written out and explained in things like the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights? I would go as far as to say yes. I imagine most people would begrudgingly say yes. There is something valid about those set of ideas that is distinct to America and has nothing to do really with any other country that we've seen before. And if you can admit that, then maybe the entire foundation of our country and all of its systems and institutions are not racist. Maybe they're not bigoted. Maybe they're not patriarchal. And maybe if we uphold those ideas in our daily lives, we might be a better country because of it. But instead, when you say, no, our country's racist, it's bigoted, it's patriarchal, and it has been and it will forever be because it's baked into every single system in every single institution, and we won't see any of these horrific things gone unless we burn it down, we tear it down, we abolish it. Guess what? Bye-bye 4th of July. Bye-bye institutions. Bye-bye all of our systems. Bye-bye importance of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence. Who would care? And that is what is nefarious about these sort of ideas, because you're teaching young people specifically these things. Those young people grow up, and if you couple that with not actually educating them on our founding documents, our founding fathers, what the country is meant to look like, the ideas that we're meant to uphold, guess what? They're not going to care about anything. They're not even going to care about the Constitution, which protects them day in and day out in this country and gives them the ability to exercise their rights. And in 20 years from now, if you go through a whole generation of teaching nothing but that, guess what? Those people grow up and they start to make decisions that affect the country in more ways than one. And that's what we're seeing now. That's why it's so trendy at the moment to hate the 4th of July, to hate America as a whole. It is quite literally a trend that people are hopping on the bandwagon. And when you go, I imagine if you looked at this Twitter thing, and if I took 5 usernames off of this, and I brought them on the show as a little panel, and we all got together and spoke about America, and I just probed them a little bit about what they knew about American history, not a single one of them would probably know anything. They wouldn't know what's worth defending. They wouldn't know what changes they would want to make. They wouldn't know what sort of country they would want to see once everything is abolished. All they know is they want what is currently here to be gone. That's it. Because that's as far as it goes. Abolition is as far as it goes. And you'll hear this. I want to look up who was the specific, I want to say it was Patrisse Cullors, who wrote this abolition guide. Yep. So Patrisse Cullors, you guys know her, co-founder of Black Lives Matter. She wrote this whole abolitionist handbook. And she did this whole interview for Democracy Now! About this abolitionist handbook. You can look it up here. It is on Google. 12 Steps to Changing Yourself and the World. And during this whole interview, I watch it and I go, just one question in mind. Patrisse, what are you going to do once everything's abolished? What's next? What happens after that? What happens after 4th of July is gone and after we're done celebrating America and the Constitution's burned and we have no copies of the Declaration of Independence and nobody is the wiser and the history's erased and you are free to build this utopia that you want to see in America? What happens after that? And they don't have an answer. Equity happens after that. Collectivism happens after that. Diversity happens after that. And these are just all little fuzzy little pretty words that they throw at you that have no real plan, that really mean nothing. And the byline or the tagline on this book is really, really telling. 12 Steps to Changing Yourself and the World. Who in their right mind thinks they're capable of changing the world? You know, I get it. It's a fun thing that we tell people all the time. We tell young children, you can be anything and you can change the entire world. But let's be honest about it. Even philosophically, you don't change the world. You live within the world. Of course, me moving my laptop up this way has a butterfly effect and who knows what changes after that. I understand that. But truly, what they mean by changing the world is altering everything. Having society built in your vision and making everybody conform to it. And that is not realistic. And Dave Rubin, I talk about his quote all the time. When I was a leftist, I wanted to change the world. Now that I'm not, I want to understand the world. That's what we should all be working towards, I think. Understanding the world, understanding our place in it, which is just a very small, finite piece in what is this large, vast world. But instead, leftism teaches every single person that they're an activist who is going to come forth and change the entire world. just with their one singular action, they're going to change the entire world. It's not realistic, but it sounds beautiful and it sounds amazing. And wouldn't it just be great if I woke up tomorrow and everybody conformed to what my vision of America was? That would be fantastic for me. Turns out not fantastic for everybody else, and I would not wish that upon anybody. Even my own vision of a beautiful America, I would not wish that upon anybody else, because that's not my right. It's not something that I get to do. But that's what wokeism is contingent upon. You believing that your idea of what America should be has to be everybody else's idea. And that's my rant on the subject matter. We're gonna go forward, because mixed in with celebrity outrage regarding July 4th was a lot of leftists on TikTok doing the same. Libs of TikTok, you all know, our favorite Twitter account, came and put together a compilation of leftists talking about the American flag and their feelings towards it. So I figured we should go ahead and react to that. So let's check it out.
My 4-year-old just came up to me and asked if she could play with my Dumbo Trump flag. And I said, my Dumbo Trump flag? I don't have one of those. And yes, she calls him Dumbo. I just never corrected her. And she goes, yeah, you do. This one. And I feel like it's kind of profound. Did he ruin the flag for anybody else? Just me?
I'm 46 and
Oh, pause. Girl, homegirl, that's your fault. That is your fault. That's a failure in your teaching, that your child thinks the American flag is a Trump flag. I'm gonna be honest with you. That sounds like you misstepped, or you miss one of the steps in educating your child, that they think that the American flag is a Trump flag. And what does that say? You know, people, and I think we're going to see this as a recurring theme throughout these videos, they think that it's an own. You know, like I owned you, and I just destroyed some right-wingers because I said that the American flag represents Donald Trump. That's not an own. It's actually, if you take a bird's eye view of it, it's actually kind of sad that there is one side of the political aisle that values America. Now you can say, well, it's just the American flag, but the American flag is symbolic. It speaks to patriotism for this country in particular. Why is it that only one side loves the country enough to have the flag displayed and to take ownership of that? Because it used to be something that we shared. And I think this has changed, maybe even quite recently. When we talk about political polarity and how there's so much divisiveness in the country as it currently stands, it did not used to be like this. You know, we could argue and disagree on any single political point and still sit down for family dinner at the end of the day, have parties with our friends, associate with people who we disagreed with, and now that seems a little bit different. Mainly because I think a lot of progressives say, oh, well, they're toxic, I don't want to be friends with people who disagree with me anymore. That's been what I've experienced the most. I'm sure there are people on the right who do the same thing, but it seems to be more of a problem on the left. I think even when studied and polled, it is more of a problem on the political left. It used to be that we both loved our country, right? We acknowledged that there were problems. Maybe we had different ideas about what the problems are. Or maybe we had the same ideas about what the problems are. But we had a different view of what the solutions would be. And that's what created the divide between the two of us. We can agree on the problems. You know, we don't like poverty. We don't like homelessness. We want to see things fixed. We want to see people flourish. We want to see people to be able to build businesses and families and grow up in a country that supports that flourishing. And we all loved America. Now it's one side loves America, wants to conserve what's great about it, and the other side hates America and wants to completely transform it. How do we move forward when that's the state that we're in? I don't know. So it's not an own to be like, oh, the American flag is Trumpism and Donald Trumpers and Republicans and right-wingers. It's actually a very sad thing that only one side loves the country and wants to conserve something about it. And it's a sign of really bad times. Let's continue.
When I turned 50 and my husband is all better, we plan on moving out of this country and somewhere else in the world. No idea where yet, just not here. So my question is there a place we can move that people would be happy to have us, that we're not gentrifying or colonizing? Is there a way to do this? I don't want to be a problem, but I need to get the fuck out of this country.
If you woke up, I would love to know more about why she needs to get out of this country. I'm gonna be quick on that one. Why? Like, what's wrong with it? And where's another country where you're gonna find something better? I would just love, I'm sure there are answers, and I'm sure there are countries that do things better than America. I mean, we've seen that. But I just want to know her specific answers. And as far as where's a country that's gonna be really accepting of people coming in, America's the answer. America's the answer. At least legally. We're all, for the most part, very accepting of people coming here legally to enjoy the offerings that this country has. So, America. But let's continue.
Up in a good ass mood today, you put on your red, white, and blue. Please go buy a gallon of gasoline, pour it on yourself, and then light that bitch up. Because what the fuck?
She just said if you woke up today and you loved America and all this stuff or whatever, pour gasoline on yourself and light yourself on fire. But we're the side that, is coming after people's livelihoods, their rights. We're the side that's inciting violence. Continue.
At this point in my life, a pickup truck with an American flag attached to the back, speeding down a street, gives me pause, and I look for safety.
Oh, the horror! Oh, the horror! An F-150 with an American flag on it. Ah! I fear for my life. Come on now. What evidence do you have to say something like that? Really? Other than you have been indoctrinated essentially with a caricature of people, and those people tend to like trucks and American flags. Come on. Come on now. Give me a break.
There's nothing like leaving America to remind you that you are traumatized. I'm in Spain right now, and being here has only made it more obvious that I move through my everyday life in America as someone who expects aggression when I enter a space, and someone who expects harm.
I'm gonna take things that did not happen for 2000, Alex. I think that if she, I won't accuse her of lying here. There's totally a space where somebody could feel like that. What I want is the instances of aggression that have been committed against this woman. If you look at her, if we go back to her, perfectly cute, lighter skinned black girl. She's cute, adorable even. Who's walking up to you and committing acts of aggression against you? And you can tell the subtext in this is white people. White people are so scary and they hate you in America. And now that I'm in Spain and I'm not surrounded by white people anymore, although there are a lot of white people in Spain, I don't feel that same aggression from white Americans. I would just love to get the evidence. Again, evidence. Please tell me a time that you have an act of aggression committed against you, and not somebody going, "Can I touch your hair?" Because we all know that's racism now, according to corporations like Disney. That's a racist thing to say to somebody. I want actual instances of racialized aggression. Please. Because it's never been a better time to be me in America. You get opportunities thrown at your feet, not because of your merit, but because of being a black female. And I can't imagine that she is, she's not accepting these same opportunities or is not being offered these same opportunities as I am living in this country. So what are the acts of aggression? Or, gonna go out on a limb here, is it simply a feeling? Because you watch the media, and the media tells you that being black in America is this reality, this figmented reality where people are constantly being aggressive towards you. Is that why you feel that way? Or has something actually happened? Get back to me.
I was driving around yesterday with my husband, and we kept seeing American flags everywhere for 4th of July. And am I the only one that Trump has ruined the flag for? Because now I just see American flags and go,
that's your choice.
Yeah, those are probably assholes.
Am I the only one that looks at American flags and I'm just ugh.
So trendy to hate America. Am I the only one who looks at American flags and I just hate America. I feel like you could find this same video with the exact same sentence being said a million times over on TikTok. So trendy.
Someone just came on the beach with American flag chair. And they're giving me very, like, Trumpy vibes. Anything American flag is, like, very Trumpy now, and I'm just like, I can't. I just cannot with any of it.
I'm at the point with this country that, like, all this 4th of July decorations doesn't sit well with me, because we're at a point where the American flag on any piece of anything, hanging from your house, on your shirt, hanging from your fucking car, on a sticker on your car, whatever, it looks racist. Like, the fact that it was the symbol of, like, the protests against masks, and it was the symbol for all lives matter and blue lives matter, it's like, it screams racist to me. It screams colonizer.
The fact that it's a symbol for all lives matter. Think about that statement. All lives matter. It screams racism to me. The fact that it stands for or can symbolize blue lives matter, meaning police officers that are of all different creeds, races, religions, genders, that screams racism to you. Sheer indoctrination, ladies and gentlemen. Sheer media indoctrination, sheer propaganda. I can't think of a more non-racist term than all lives matter. But that's where we live now. That's how we live. That's the reality now. You know, Black Lives Matter is a sign of equality and racial acceptance, and all lives matter is a sign of racism and bigotry. Clown world, honk honk, water spraying from the flower, pulling, endless fabric from my jacket. Oh, there's a bird. Because we live in clown world. I just cannot believe that this is the reality. But this is what it is. This is what it is. We just continually morph reality and switch it, and then we pee on you and tell you that it's raining, and you're supposed to accept it and go, oh yes. I quite enjoy the rain. I won't even bring an umbrella today. That's the reality that we live in right now. Oh my gosh. Have any of you experienced this? Do any of your family members now hate the 4th of July? Is this something that you had to contend with this weekend? Let me know in the comments down below. I had my own familial back and forth about 4th of July, and some moments where people were not accepting of Independence Day and certainly didn't want to have a conversation about that. And to that I say, fine, whatever. I think you're misguided in that disdain, but guess what? America's a free country where we're allowed to express everything because those rights were protected for us, and you have your right to express that. Moving on. Okay, what else do we want to talk about? Yeah, so here's another change we're making. You guys know NPR. You guys, you know them, you hate them, whatever. It's certainly not something that should be publicly funded in this country. But alas, here we are. After 30 plus years, NPR cancels Declaration of Independence reading. Now, I read into this. Town Hall is particularly, they're right-leaning. You can tell in some of the language in this article. But I wanted to just look at the tweet that they put out. This July 4th, we break with tradition. Instead, we break with tradition in a lot of ways. I think tradition is really on the way out in this country, which is very scary. But continue. Instead of a reading of the Declaration of Independence, NPR's Inskeep examines what equality means and has meant in this document. Important segment about our past and future. So there's not much to be super up in arms about here. I do think, if you're going to abandon something, they have the right to do so. They are publicly funded, so we can talk about public versus private there. But it is very sad to see that after 30 plus years of reading the Declaration of Independence and going through it and having this government-funded radio that people can turn on and hear on this important day why this day exists. That's a really cool thing. It's a really valuable thing, I think. When I was a kid, I loved NPR. When I was a child, and children don't normally take to things like that. My mom in the car would just turn on NPR and we'd listen to it for hours and hours while we drove around. And it was great, and I learned so much, and I felt like there was a little bit of integrity in what they reported on and in what they talked about. And if not integrity, it was simply interesting. They'd send somebody out to a cave in Indonesia and give you a full report on NPR about it. And as a kid, I loved that. And now NPR is not that at all. And all of these trusted institutions, trusted companies, trusted publicly funded projects have now just descended into nothing more than virtue signaling and propaganda. And it's sad to see. It's sad when we, like we covered last week, Elmo telling kids to get vaccinated for COVID-19 and get their booster and all this stuff. These trusted individuals, figures, have now just descended into madness. And they're so okay with it that you truly don't have somewhere to turn like you did when I was a kid or when you guys were children. And the only option is to come up with alternatives. That's going to be the only option. And I often think about the fact that this country is just going to split into states that just represent wholly different ideologies, wholly different countries, and people who have the same values are just going to find each other, congregate, and build their communities. In a lot of ways, I'm fine with that, and I think this is what's going to happen. And NPR not reading the Declaration of Independence, it's sad. Obviously, we're okay with it. It's fine. But it just goes to show where we're at. That a document that is so important can be cast aside in a way to have a conversation about equality. An equality that they don't even truly believe exists in the document. Let's be honest there. But they're going to say they're going to find what equality means and what it was meant to mean in this document in particular, and probably go through all the transgressions that were happening at the time and compare and go back and forth and talk to you about the founding fathers and all the wrong that they did while talking about equality and all these fun things. When instead you could just, read the Declaration of Independence, say this is Independence Day, say these are the values and ideas that sparked what was a bloody, contentious revolution that birthed a country that you now get to sit in and, enjoy the fruits of to this very day. People do not give enough credit. I saw a tweet this weekend about how young the founding fathers were and some of the signers of these founding documents. Insane. We're talking like 19 to 40 years old, all within that stretch of age. Can you imagine? I'm 22 now. You're telling me that some of these men were younger than me, writing out these ideas, going back and forth about what a country should look like and what a free republic looks like? Are you kidding me? I could never. And you know what? You can scroll through the comments and you'll just see people going, well, it's unbelievable that we still care for the words of somebody who was 21 or somebody who was 19. And I could see where somebody could logically make that argument. But I looked at that and I saw the ages of some of our founding fathers and I just went, wow. How is it that at 19, 21, 25, 40, 35, you are writing out ideas that are, seemingly withstanding the test of time. We'll see in the next 20 years whether they withstand the test of time, but have withstood this much time passing and have created a country unlike any other. What a beautiful, amazing thing. Even if you have problems with the country as it stands today, I certainly do. If you look at our current administration and the way this country is being run and how nothing is really being done about it, I certainly have problems. But does that make me meet a day like July 4th and say F America, like we have little Miss Jessica Chastain in this picture here? Does it make me do that? No. It makes me go, this country's great. We have so much to work on. And I'm so glad that a group of men have put together a framework for us dealing with those problems and set up a government that, when running correctly, helps us deal with the problems that we're facing. So that's what I think of on this day. And just to reiterate some of the points being made, I want to show this graph here first about being proud to be an American. This was put out by a new radical centrism on Twitter. Percentage who are proud to be an American. Progressive activists, 34%. I'm actually surprised 34% are proud, but good. Yay, I'll clap for that. The more the merrier. Gen Z, 51%. That's my vote there. I'm in the I'm in the 51, and then there's 49 outside of that. Wowza. Asians, 62. Hispanic, 76. Moderates, 87. Silent generation, 94%. Devoted conservatives, 100%. Yeah, well, it's kind of baked in the word conservative, isn't it? So 51% of Gen Z, proud to be an American. 49%. I imagine how in just a couple of years that can fluctuate. And the majority is going to be those who are not proud to be an American. And we can talk about the word proud. Is proud the right word? How are you proud of somewhere that you just happen to be born? I think grateful is a really great word. Do you express gratitude for being an American? Do you have respect for being born in this country? Is that something that you can appreciate? Do you appreciate America? I think that's a better framing of the question itself as opposed to proud. But all of those things, yes. I am appreciative. I am grateful. I respect this country. And I am just, could kiss the ground for how lucky I am to have been born here. But that's not a lot. It's not what other people are thinking, apparently, on days like July 4th. But it is what some are. And I want to close out on a good message here. Let's read this tweet here. Our founding ideas are the reason the circumstances of your birth do not determine the circumstances of your life. You won the lottery the day you were born in America, and the rest of the world knows it. Happy Independence Day. And here's a graph of how people immigrate and move around this world, this big world that we're all spinning on right now. Look at that. In the United States, nearly 160 million people want to move to the United States. And this is the top desired destination for potential migrants. This was in 2017. And we know how immigration has changed since then in this country. We're essentially just going, hey guys, you want to come here? Come on in. We're not going to ask you what your name is. Not going to fingerprint you. We're not going to do a background check on you. We're not going to ask if those are your kids. We're just going to let you come on through. And besides that point, what a beautiful thing that people see the ideals or the opportunities that they have in America, and they want it, and they want to be here. I think that's wonderful and amazing. And a big testament to that is when you watch other countries, particularly other countries that experience turmoil or some sort of, upheaval. There's people out in the streets protesting the current government. We saw this in Venezuela. We saw this in Cuba. What are they out doing? They're out screaming about liberty, about life, about the pursuit of happiness. Where did those ideals come from? America, baby. What flags are they out there, flying around and screaming about and crying out for? American flags. And there are brilliant photos of this that I love to show people who just hate on America and say they don't want to be here anymore. Go look at the protests from other countries when they are upset with their government, when they are upset with the way that they're living, when they are upset with the way that their country is running. They look to American ideals, and that's what they would like to see emulated in their country. And while that's a sad thing, it's also a beautiful thing that should make you sit in gratitude for a couple minutes about where you are right now. Because I know a lot of you guys are in America listening to me, and some of you are not. Some of you are outside of America, international, listening to this right now. But for those of you who are in America, just sit for a second and go, lucky me, man. I'm very lucky to be sitting in this country right now, watching this podcast, and this is my life right now. And that's where a lot of people get this wrong. Jessica Chastain has millions and millions of dollars. She's an actress, a Hollywood star. She's probably never wanted for anything, at least in her adult life, since she has garnered this success. And it's all because she did it in America. It's all because we've created the avenues for people to do that in America. For you to go, this is my dream, this is what I want to pursue, and then you go and do it, and then you reap all the benefit from making that decision. And we laid the groundwork, our founding fathers laid the groundwork for you to be able to do that. And then they sit and they go, F you, America, after I've built all my success off of, those giants that I'm standing on the shoulders of. F you. And maybe one day they'll learn, maybe one day they won't. Last thing I want to show you guys before we close out the show for today, here's a tweet. Americans on Twitter, quote, as we all know, America's a broken is broken and democracy is crumbling in these troubled times, ... Our landscaping guy, who's an immigrant, this is the text that he sent. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. Miss Sarah, happy 4th of July. Hope you guys enjoy. So there will always be people who understand what this country's for, understand the opportunity that it gives them, understand how beautiful it can be and is. And when you sit in moments, even when you're upset with this country, I've had plenty of them. You've had plenty of them. People who oppose us have had plenty of them. We all go through moments where we're sitting here and we go, in America? This is happening in America right now? I cannot believe these are discussions we're having. I cannot believe this is something I'm going through. I cannot believe those prices are so high in this country. But does that make you hate the country in its entirety? No, because life is not as black and white as that. It's not as black and white as if something's not going my way, I hate this country. And this is coming to you from a person who hated America. I used to hate America. I used to talk to everybody about how it's the worst country, even though we claim to be the best. And, you know, this is not as good as it claims to be. And we're really not who we say we are. We really don't stand by these ideals. But we do. We do. Our country wouldn't have survived or even gotten to this point of success if that wasn't part of it. And every day we should just strive to uphold them. And that's our job, I think, if you want it to be your job, if that's something that you value. And that's what we do day in and day out. And I think this little text just perfectly encapsulated that there are people who are going to understand the beauty of this country, and there are people who aren't. And that's okay, because all of those are protected by the rights that our founding fathers gave us. So I think that's where we're going to close out. I hope you guys had a happy 4th, happy Independence Day. Let me know how you celebrated in the comments down below. And we asked the question on YouTube, are you proud to be an American? And because I'm watching, I'm going to go ahead and click yes. 80% of you said yes, 2% of you said no, and 18% of you said I'm not an American. So thank you for those of you who aren't Americans watching the show right now. I really appreciate you. And for those of you who are proud and not proud, it's fantastic that we live in a country where we can all express that at any given moment. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single day when we go live. That is 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And I think I did pretty good today being on the little buttons and everything. You guys let me know if I did anything wrong down below and I will work on it. You know, this is my first try. I'm dipping my toe in the water. We'll see. As soon I'll be a whiz kid at all of this. Thank you guys so much. We're almost to 100,000 subscribers. How amazing would it be to bring in this July at 100,000 subscribers? And I think we'll get there in about a week or two. So thank you guys so much for your support and growing this channel at the rate that it's growing. It's unbelievable. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.